Good morning, beautiful people. This is Walter C. Powwow the Fourth. Welcome to the Powwow Podcast by PowerTripping.com. Y'all know what time it is. Time to teach, inspire, motivate, and empower. This morning, I'm going to teach you some life skills. I'm going to inspire you spiritually. I'm going to motivate you to be the very best that you could possibly be. And last, I'm going to empower you with the tools and the equipment to do all of the above. Today, we're going to talk about soul food. That's right, food for your soul. Watch this and wait until I come back, and we're going to talk about all the things to get your soul, which is your mind, right. Y'all stay tuned. Good morning, beautiful people. Beautiful people. Listen, this is what I want y'all to do. First of all, thank you. Thank you for all the people who have prayed, who have sacrificed, who have called with encouragement, and all those things for the podcast to be possible, and more importantly, for your support. What I would love for you to do is to like, share, and to comment, right? As you all know, I'm Walter C. Powwow the Fourth. This is the Powwow Podcast. Not only is the Powwow session, but it's my moniker. It's how I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, with the nickname Powwow. I won't go into that right now, but those of you in New Orleans know where I grew up from, why they call me Powwow. But what I want you to actually do, again, is to like, is to share, is to comment. Let me know where you're calling from, where you chiming in from, where you zooming in from. Let me know. Give me some hearts. Give me some love. Give me something whereby I know that you're with me, right? It's sort of like church. It's a call and response. When I call something, you respond. That's how I know you in me. I could be 5 minutes or I could be at least an hour. It's depending on the energy that you give me. So thank y'all so much for, again, your prayers. But more importantly, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about soul food, okay? And a lot of you all may think, yeah, soul food, the food that you eat physically, soul food with the grease and the greens and the mashed potatoes and the yams and the pork chops and all that. No, not that type of soul food. This is this type of soul food, the food for your soul. Because this podcast is for the last, the least, the lost, and definitely for the people that are forgotten. Forgotten what? Forgotten souls, lost souls, the last souls, the least souls, the people who saying, man, today, years past, man, why is life happening to me to that degree? And what I'm going to tell you, once we get our soul right, regardless of what life throws at you, you're going to tackle it. More importantly, not only tackle it, but you're going to actually annihilate it. Let's get into some things. First of all, what is your soul? Your soul is your thinker, your feeler, and your chooser. That's what it is. Your thinker, your feeler, and your chooser. If anything that you're going to do in life, you have to understand is how you think, how you feel, and how you choose. I was told that life is a series of decisions. And based on the decisions that you make now, because that's only now, will determine what your life has been and will continue and will be based on those decisions. So first we need to understand how to make good decisions. You know that life is 90% of how you respond, 10% of what happens to you. So you mean to tell me all the things that we ever go through through life is predicated on how you respond? That's exactly what I'm saying. It's predicated on that. Why do I say that? Because it's about your attitude. It was when Jesus was in the boat and all the disciples, and they had a whirlwind. It was a storm, and all the disciples was, oh my Lord, I need you to get up. We're about to sink. It's a storm, and it was panicking. And he got up and he says, calm, ye of little faith. Have I not been with you all this time and you learned nothing? And spoke to the storm and instantly it calmed. Now, what we're saying is that it's not actually the storm, but it's really the set of the sail. How do you channel your mind to the things that is happening to you? I can recall one time that when my son had got into some mischief, right? My son got into some mischief. And he was at the wrong place, wrong time, with the wrong people while they was doing the wrong thing, okay? So he had gotten detained when he was a teenager. And of course, they was talking about all the things that he was faced with this, faced with that, faced with this. And I'm saying, it's not the thing that happened to us, it's how we respond. Immediately, I start to exercise and employ my faith, right? My faith, which is, I understand it's not the thing that you see, but it's the thing that you do not see and yet believe. So what I was believing for is freedom. What I was believing for is favor. And I knew exactly how to get those responses and those things to manifest in my life. So they were saying, oh, here is the evidence. Here is the, what they call the report. And I was like, I don't want to see any of those reports because I have my own report. And the report I have, based on this Bible, understands that if anything that I put my faith, I believe for, and exercise it with action, it's going to manifest. It is. So despite all the stuff that you may be going through, and it may look bleak, it may look at your wit's end, it may seem like, man, I have no way out. I promise you, when you exercise your faith, things will change. And faith is not only the belief in the unseen, but it's also your action with the swiftness without reluctance. See, oftentimes people want to exercise faith, but that faith is not really exercised because you have reluctance. You're not quick to believe. You're not quick to believe. See, you still have to pray when an opportunity comes, instead of having already been prayed and the opportunity comes and you're ready to move. See, when that came with my son, I already had been living a prayerful life, a life full of prayer, and a life of prayer. So when that thing came to introduce itself to discredit my faith in my Father, my Lord and my Savior, guess what I did? I immediately was quick to believe and applied and exercised my faith. Quickly did I not say, oh Lord, what's gonna happen? I hope you don't get time. Oh, none of that never crossed my mind. Why? Because more than anything, all the things that happened prior to. See, most of you all believe this. Most of you all believe that your past defines you, that history defines you. And I'm here to tell you that your history prepares you. Prepares you for what? Prepares you to success. Success is no tangible thing. It's only a journey. Because once you get to that thing that you hope to be, guess what happens? You're on to the next. And the reason why I say hope, when I say hope intentionally, because hope is the earnest expectation of something good happening to you. Be hopeful this morning. Be hopeful despite the fact that with anything to come into your life, good, bad, or indifferent, you have the hope. You have the promise to know that this too shall pass. And that's exactly what happened when I understood that my son was faced with a situation that was beyond all of our controls, physically, but spiritually, based on the principles and the equipment and the tools that I have matured with based on other situations that have occurred in my life. I understood exactly what to do and when to do it. That's what we call wisdom. Knowing what to do when you actually don't know what to do. It's wisdom. So I would tell you, based on that, get your mind right. Get your food, which is your soul, right. It's a certain diet that you have to have in order to acquire a certain soul. You can't have junk food and have the best body and want the optimum performance. It doesn't happen like that. I can't eat chips, potatoes, candy, chocolate, and then want to have a six-pack. It just doesn't. Some of y'all may have a metabolism like that, but the majority of us, we just don't. It just doesn't happen. We have to utilize what we call discipline. In doing just the fact that we discipline ourselves, now we know that we can have the results that we look for. Why is that? Because you and I both know that just what I said, in life, challenge is going to come. And what scripture says, be not dismayed, right? Don't think it's strange that you fall into diverse temptations. Why? Because you're being tested. And you can't have no testimony until you have a test. You cannot be a victor until you become a victim. You can't have a stepping stone until you have a step back. You can't have a triumph until you are tried. You can't. And that's what you call, after you do those things, that's what you call credentials in a resume. And when the next thing comes before you to try to challenge your faith, guess what? You can always revert back to what? Your past, right? Your past. And most times the devil and the enemy will say, see, because of you went through this, because you is a single parent or a product of a single parent, you're not supposed to be where you are. You're not supposed to be the most loving husband, the most supportive husband. You're not supposed to be the most extraordinary dad, or a model citizen, or the most caring grandfather, or the most proudest of sons to your mother. If I were to look at my past, but I understood it's only because of my past that I'm here today. I was so grateful that I did not have a father growing up, because had I had one, perhaps I would not be the man that I am now. See, you have to relish and embrace all the things that you have ever went through in life. You have to, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself full of regrets. And that is the one thing that is almost as tormenting as the things that you say I should have done, which is regret, and the things that you did, which is also regret. See, sometimes we say, man, I shouldn't have done that. And then we say, man, why didn't I do that? Now it's a missed opportunity, or it's a misjudgment, or it's misguided. And this is what I'm here to tell you today, is that if you don't get your mind right, your thinker, your feeler, and your chooser, life is going to be difficult for you. How do you think? In what lines do you think? When things come up in your life, are you going to say, today is the day that I illustrate and demonstrate my faith in my Father, in my Lord, and my Savior? Today is the day that I'm going to illustrate that. Why? Because you have to show yourself proof. The only way that people know that you're a talent is if you are in a talent show, right? It doesn't have to be a physical talent show on the stage, but every time your talent is on display, it's being shown. So regardless of how gifted and talented you are, if you don't show the talent, guess what? No one knows that. And it's the same thing with faith. It's the same thing about getting your mind right. When obstacles come, when adversity comes, when challenges come, it's your opportunity now to prove that now you can be promoted. Because why? I learned the test. In the game of life, and the reason why life is called game, because there is an adversary. And what constitutes a game is when you have an opponent, an adversary, or some opposition coming against you. A challenge. That is what constitutes a game. Otherwise, we call that practice. We call it practice, right? But in life, you're going to have an adversary. You're going to have an opposer, because this guy does not want you to get to your promises. The promises that have been given to you in the word, that you can live an abundant life, that you can have all the desires of your heart. What he's going to do is go back again to your past and talk about all the things that you did. Remember when you did this. Remember when you did that. Remember when you were supposed to. And now he throws what we call condemnation or guilt or shame, and you tuck tail and run before coming boldly before the throne and says, let's go. Despite all those things, I'm the redeemed of the Lord, and whatever I say is so. By his grace, by his mercy, now I can't stand, because somebody paid the price for me. That is what the word redeem means. That means somebody paid for this for me. Lackness, sickness, debt, disease, doubt, fear, discouragement. All those things been paid. Why are you tolerating that? You shouldn't. Because you think, and society has told you, this comes with life. We're here to have life and have it more abundantly, a Zoe type of life. And it comes from your soul. How do you think? How do you feel? How do you choose? And let's talk about feelings in this regard. Most people don't exercise what we call emotional intelligence, because they are all so moved by what they feel. And let me tell you something about feelings. You can best believe this. They change. They change, right? Feelings are chemicals. They go up and down. Today you may fall out with somebody, right? Today me and my wife may get into it in the morning, and you're telling me this and this, and then the next hour we lovey-dovey. Because why? because we're talking about feelings and they change. So never make a permanent decision in a temporary situation because you feel like this today or feel like this morning. You will do something that you will regret later. Why? Because you didn't exercise emotional intelligence, because you're in your feelings. I say something all the time, and sometimes I gotta correct myself. Often, all the time, my wife says, "Oh, you in your feelings?" Because I got something that we say in New Orleans. We say, "Man, I feel played. Man, I feel played." And at that point, when we say we feel played, that means it's disrespect. And we handle disrespect one way. That's how I got the name Powwow. We're not gonna get into that, but I'm just saying. But you have to, again, not be succumbed by your feelings. You have to understand that you have to control what you feel. That's what it's going back to saying, life is not what happens, but how you respond. When you can control your feelings, we can do so much more in life. We can be so much more in life. We can touch so much more people, because this is what I want you all to understand. That all the things that you are going through, they are not for you. They are for someone else. Let me say that again. All the things that you are going through are not for you. They are for someone else. Why? Because now what you can do is, through those life lessons and those experiences, share that with someone. That's the reason why it is a testimony. And people could say, wow, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. Testimonies are so powerful. They're so motivating. They're so spiritual and inspiring. It's so enthusiastic, because people could say, if he did it, if she did it, if they did it, surely, because God is no respecter of person, then it can happen in my life too. It can happen. But when you're saying it's because they grew up with two parents in their household, because they grew up in a house, because they was middle class, because they went to a certain school, because they have a degree, because they have all those things that you believe equals success, when you believe that in your soul, which it doesn't, because you create your reality. You do. You create the things that are real based on how you think, how you feel, how you choose. Every day you have the opportunity to choose whether they have a good day or a bad day, whether to smile or frown. This is what I've discovered. Do you not know it takes 113 muscles in your face to frown, but it only takes 11 to smile? Think about that. What does that mean? I can do more with less. That's exactly what it means. The energy that you have to do to think about frowning and grimaces and what we call in New Orleans a boot in your mouth, right? Because you have these type of thoughts in your head to understand, despite that, let me smile. Let me give it another response. Let me give it another effect. Because I determine my reality, not anything externally, me internally, because greater is he that lives in me than he who lives in the world. I have everything that pertains to the life and godliness. That's why, despite all the things that my wife and I have went through, guess what happens? We overcame those things. When we lost it all in a real estate crash, guess what happens? We bounce back. We're living our second dream. It's a second dream. Think about that. A second dream? Most people don't live a first dream, but to live a second dream is extraordinary. And that's only because we kept the dream before us. We never said when we lost everything, or when the fact that when we came to New Orleans, when we came from New Orleans with $1,700, and we said, wow, we want to live an extraordinary life. We want to live an extraordinary life. We only had $1,700, 2 kids, 3 kids at the time. Now we got a lot of kids, right? Because I got my children and I got godsons and goddaughters and things of that nature. But it's because we said, man, we're at the bottom. We only have $1,700. We can't go no lower. See, that's an attitude. That's an attitude. And guess what? We was quick to believe. Why? Because we had some good friends of ours, close friends of ours, that we saw the very exact same thing happen. They left with little money, went to Atlanta, Georgia, and created a wonderful life. They got into real estate. They joined this church, right? They had 2 daughters that was born 4 or 5 years apart on the same day. So guess what me and my wife did? Moved to Atlanta, got into real estate, joined the church. And guess what we had? Two sons born on the same day, 4 years apart, right? That's what you call mimicking. If you want success, you don't have to blaze a trail. All you have to do is copy the right cat. It's emulation, and that comes from association, and then it's assimilation. Oftentimes that you don't have what you have, or you do have what you have based on the proximity and relationship you have with certain people and certain things. Again, we're talking about your soul. We're talking about your soul. We're talking about your soul. A lot of times we do not want to be uncomfortable or discomforted. I had a good friend who tell me comfort holds more people prisoners than all the jails can buy. Because people just don't want to be uncomfortable. People just don't want to grow. They want to be exactly where they are because it requires absolutely nothing. And you know what we call that? Average. And you know what average is? Mediocre. Right? That's the best of the bottom. That's what average is. Average is the best of the bottom. Think about that. Do you ever set your sights waking up in the morning to be the best of the bottom? Certainly, I hope not. That I'm the best, yes, of the bottom. I won, yes. Perhaps you may, if that's your soul food. But I'm here to tell you, we can do better, much better, because you don't have to succumb to all the things society would say that you are and are not. You don't have to. You determine everything, good, bad, or indifferent. None of those things matters. It's only your soul that makes it so. And people want to defend their limitations, right? And notice I did not say limits. I said limitations. Because all of us have limits, but none of us have limitations. Because limits are physical, limitations are psychological, right? And in this book that I read, it says, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. Anything and everything that I tend to want to do, I can do it. You can do it. But again, you succumb and you believe and you accept the fact that some people say what you cannot do based on their limitations. Oh, well, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should. You know how many people told my wife and I we shouldn't leave New Orleans with our two sons with this raggedy Cutlass Sierra with one headlight and no brakes, $1,700 and nowhere to live. Do you know my mama and my wife's mama, Tiffany mama, said, "Oh, y'all crazy. Y'all don't have no job. You barely got a car. You got two children that is 3 and 18 months, and y'all talking about living an extraordinary life in a place where y'all don't have nobody but one friend you grew up with. Oh, y'all crazy." And they was mad, and they was upset, and they didn't accept it. So much so that if my children told me that, if my son was to say, "All right, Daddy, I'm going to go to Phoenix, Arizona. I only got $2,500. I'm going to take these babies, right? And I'm going to go start a new life." What? I wish you would take my babies to a foreign land with $2,500 and talk about living an extraordinary life. But now as a parent, I can see that. As a child and as a child of God, me setting out to be and provide the best that I could possibly be for my family, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. I'm going for it. And guess what my thought was? Failure is no options. We're not coming back here. We're not going backwards. Like Lot, when he's looking back, we're not going back. That's not happening. We're going forward, and we're going forward with speed and velocity. And we threw everything into that. And that's when we got into real estate. Turned out to be very, 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 very good to us. Very good to us. And then, again, my soul not understanding that, man, this is the thing that's going to take care of us forever. And while it did not, because we encountered a downturn in our economy, then I discovered, man, I need to do something else. And I pivoted. But it is because of the life lesson that I learned, man, I'll never rely on a single source of income, right? Any source of income that I'm going to rely on, it's going to be residual. Point blank and period, because the residual income is the money you make after you work. And despite any downturn in the economy, despite how people feel, despite interest rates, despite credit scores, despite availabilities, whether you accept the contracts or not, guess what happens? We're going to constantly get paid from the deed that I did so long ago. That's what I had to receive. But I had to pivot, and I had to get my mind and my soul right. That's why we're on our second dream. the second dream, not the first. We lost that dream. But let me tell you, it wasn't lost, it was stolen. The dream was stolen. Why would you say, powwow, the dream was stolen? Because the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he stole that dream. But then again, in the scripture says, when you find the enemy and he got your goods, he must give back and restore sevenfold. When you found the thief, right? When you find the thief, and oftentimes the thief is not after your purse, he's after your promise. So when you find the thief, at this point, it's to say, I found you, I got you, you gotta restore sevenfold. And this is where we are now. In Houston, Texas, restored sevenfold. Why? Because the principle in the word says, if I catch you, I got you, you gotta give it up. But not only what you stole, you gotta give up more than that. And that's why we're here. So again, we're talking about the soul, and I'm gonna leave you with this. I need you to do 3 things for me if you could today. Just 3. 3 simple things I need you to do. First of all, what I need you to do is smile. Smile. Hard smiles. Not a grin. A smile. Find in your heart something to be grateful for. Right? And that's why we're great, because we're grateful. Find something to be grateful for and smile. With your eyes closed, your forehead wrinkled, your gums showing in the back. Smile. Because a smile is the most inexpensive gift you could bestow upon a person. Secondly, what I want you to do is go and give somebody a compliment. Compliment somebody on anything. Find somebody and compliment them on anything. Anything. Find somebody and compliment them on. And lastly, what is the thing I said? Compliment. Oh, let me look at my notes. Oh, and it says sow a seed. Sow a seed. Somebody else said, man, sow a seed. What is that? Sow what we call a do-good seed. Do good by someone. Do something for someone and that person can't return the favor for you or return the deed to you. That's a do-good seed. This is how you get your soul right, because now you get your mind off of you and on someone else. So I'm going to leave you all with this. That thank you again for tuning to the Powwow podcast. What I would love for you to do is like, share, comment, if you would, and tell me exactly how the podcast, the first inaugural one, has impacted your life. And then I want you to make certain that you tune in to the next podcast, right? Go to powertripping.com. There you'll find the information for the next podcast. Until then, y'all stop tripping. I love you. I appreciate you. But more importantly, I'm here to say, I'm not here to convince. I'm only here to convey. Y'all be blessed. Thank y'all so much.